Okay, next question. What can I do to recession-proof my job? It's so funny. I just wrote an article about this here on LinkedIn about becoming indispensable. And I'm glad people are asking that question because this is exactly how you have to think right now. So let's walk through the mindset of an employer. I'm going to put you in the employer's shoes. I am being told that I have to cut costs. I'm looking at all of my expenses versus the money I'm bringing in, and I'm losing money. So the first thing they're going to tell me is we need to cut enough money so that we're back to either breaking even or making money. So I'm going to look around, and my most expensive thing is always going to be people. People are always the most expensive asset. And that is why restructurings and layoffs and furloughs are so common in times of crisis, because it's the fastest way to cut expenses. So you have to look at that and say, okay, if I am potentially on, unfortunately, the chopping block, why would that be? And there's a couple of reasons. First of all, does the work that you do, does it save or make enough money to justify your salary? So this is one of those times when crisis hits where we start to see people who are overpaid. So if you've been getting raises and promotions year after year, cost of living raises, et cetera, and your job has grown a little bit, but in a lot of ways it stayed the same. They're just paying you because you have years of experience. It is very possible that you overnight have become too expensive. Because if they can look at you and say, wait a minute, we have 10 people on staff, four of them could do that job and they're getting paid, one third what that person is, then let's cut all the other people. This is when overpaid, more senior people will lose their jobs. So sit down and do a cost analysis. How do you save or make the company enough money? Write out everything that you do and factor in and say, does this justify my current salary? And remember, your current salary is about 130 to 140% of your actual salary. So if you make $40,000 a year, right? 10% of that is another 4,000. So another 12 to $16,000 a year is what the company has to pay in expenses and taxes and overhead and all that other stuff. So you're talking about conservatively, let's say you need to justify that you save or make at least $56,000 a year for you to be justifiable. Now, if you've never done this before, or if you're thinking, well, wouldn't the company do that? It's not how it works, folks. A lot of times in really booming times, managers are so busy that maybe you're not performing at the level they want, but it's good enough and they don't have time to, work through the problem with you and make you perform better. And they don't feel like backfilling you and training somebody new. So they let it slide. So they suddenly let your work be average and they tell you your work is fine. So I have people come to me all the time at work daily and go, JT, I don't get it. I got a great performance review. They told me I was fine. And the next thing you know, I got laid off. Fine's not good enough. You have to be exceeding expectations right now. And the way you exceed expectations is by saving or making more than enough money to justify your cost. Now, the second thing that you need to do to be indispensable is make sure that the work that you're doing is stuff nobody else wants. So a great example of that would be if you're doing work that if they lay you off, your boss will have to take it back. It couldn't go to somebody else on the squad. Well, then that's a good sign because your boss doesn't want to lay off a bunch of people and create 10 times the amount of work for her or him. If they can let you go and then divide your work amongst other teammates, that's what they'll do. But if you know for a fact that your work is going to go directly back onto your boss, that's almost like a bit of an insurance card for you. Because again, your boss is already stressed out and super busy. They don't want to take more work back on. So that's another way for you to look at that there. Okay. And then the last thing I'll just tell you is to turn up what you do. So find more ways to do more work and add more value. So pick up tasks, especially things that other people don't want to do. Think about your attitude, that can-do attitude. We've got this. I recognize these are tough times. I'm going to continue to add value. Ask what you can take off people's plates, especially your manager. If your manager's got a lot going on right now would be the time to ask your manager, what else can I do for you? That's how you can become indispensable. And again, I'm sure the team will put the link in there so that you can all take a look. But I love that quote because it's how everybody should be thinking right now.